So what's good, everybody? Back here again with another video, and this video is going to be a lighting breakdown that is actually all the way back from 2022. It's around the time where I just started light teching for photographers, and my friend Lawrence Ajay hit me up about this Nike shoot, and it's Serena Williams, I believe spring 2023 line for apparel. And we shot here in Chicago at this cool location, and yeah, this video is old, so I don't even know the format of it, but it has a lot of good information in there. I really enjoyed this shoot a lot. I think I learned a lot on this shoot as probably one of my bigger productions when it comes to photography. This was the first time I ever had a shoot with a bigger budget that was just photography and not video included, which was nice. And so we essentially could do whatever we needed to do. We could get whatever gear we needed to get, etc., etc. And this is a luxury I have yet to, I feel like, experience again in this way, because most times you have video, you have photo all together. You're fighting for time, you're fighting for shots, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not gonna make this video or this intro long because the video is already long. But if you have any questions about this shoot or about this video, let me know down in the comments and I'll happily answer them. Without further ado, let's get the video started.
All right, so what's good? This video is essentially going to be a small BTS of like how we shot these images for the Nike Times SWDC, which is also Serena Williams' line for 2023. I believe this is her spring drop. But before we get started, I definitely want to credit everybody that was involved that you see here in the credits, because this was definitely a team effort. This was one day of prep, so we set up everything, got everything lit how we wanted it, and then the second day was us coming in and shooting everybody individually and as a group. We had pairs, we had full groups, we had singles. So it was a pretty long day of shooting, but for the most part, everything went smoothly. Shout out to Lawrence for having me on to this project. I really appreciate him reaching out and just believing in me to be able to execute this. But let's get into it. So first off, we were shooting with the Canon R5 for you spec people out there, with the 28-70 lens, which this lens is a crazy lens. I recently got to shoot with it. It's a 28-70 2.0 f-stop lens, because the idea of this whole shoot was to be able to transform spaces. This is something that was heavy in our deck, our treatment for this. We scouted a bunch of different locations, and this location was the one we went with. It's an industrial, kind of dead space, but then with production design from Pendulum, we were able to kind of come in and transform this space to give it some life, which is the greenery and the reflection. And I think one thing that's cool within the reflections, you can kind of see the steel beams around them and the old industrial look, but like in front of them and surrounding them is also like green grass, moss, which I think was pretty cool from a storytelling element. And so from there, we had a 4-light setup. We had our key, which was off to the left of camera. And one thing that we had a challenge with was just like lighting this without catching too many reflections within the mirrors. But that was something that limited us a little bit on where we could place the lights and what type of look we could go for without, seeing the reflection. So we were limited to like using like smaller modifiers, just because it was less likely to be able to see them in the reflections, because we only had honestly maybe like a 3-foot radius of where Lawrence could move in order to not catch a reflection. So we had to be very specific. In Pendulum, they were like maneuvering the reflective surfaces in order not to catch the lights as best as possible. But yeah, we had a 4-light setup. 2 of those lights are the patterns you kind of see on the ground, the front of the ground, which are just 2 gobos. I use Paul C. Buff lights. These are their Einstein lights. They also have their own gobos that they use, and I have 2 of those. So I kind of found patterns that I thought would look cool on the ground, and we placed them camera right in front of the talent, so closer to where the photographer is, to get that pattern on the ground. Before this was just a dark ground. Like if you look at the shadows within this gobo fixture, that's what the ground looked like, but completely with no splashes of light or anything like that. And that's something that we were able to do on the pre-light day, which was nice because we didn't have to worry about trying to figure out how we're going to fix the gap of what was going on with the shadows on the ground. And this is actually 5 lights, I'm lying. So we had a key light off to the left. We also had 2 gobos, which were up, connected to the upper level that you see here. And then we also had my 600X up, actually on top of that, shining down, which you can see in the behind the scenes right here, which gave for this like nice natural glow. And the bearings on that actually like cut up the light, so you kind of see like this line through the light, which I think made the images so much more like particular, and so I like that a lot. And then for the close-ups, we had essentially the same light setup, but I would bring in a light camera left in order to be able to outline the shoes a little bit more, which I think made for great just depth in the images, because we still wanted them to be bright, but we kind of still wanted them to have depth. And I feel like Nike has a very specific look to what they usually do, and so within the treatment we tried to stick with that, mainly because that's what they wanted. So everybody was happy with the lighting. I think the biggest thing that we had trouble with was the actual sun. As you can see, we're in a warehouse, and like there are windows surrounding us. So like the back windows are there, which is east, but to the right, camera right, is south. So literally we're getting sun all day. And it was supposed to be an overcast day. No sun was supposed to come out, and I kid you not, maybe like 2 hours in, the sun just came blazing through the warehouse, which was, you know, just something we had to deal with, which is why some of the images come out a lot brighter than some of the other ones. And I'll kind of just go back and forth now so you can see the differences, which I prefer when the sun wasn't out because the talent just popped a lot more. But you know, these are just things you have to worry about when you do have big warehouses like this. And like we weren't shooting at night or anything, and we didn't have any lights outside at all. So we were kind of just going with whatever the natural light was giving us. But I think overall, like all of the images came out pretty solid. And yeah, it's kind of surreal to see all of this now out and being posted by Nike and Serena Williams. I think I've talked to, you know, a few of my crew members since this has come out, and like we're all like just in awe on like the level of what this did come out and like how good it looked. Yeah, this is a great opportunity. This is my first shoot for or with, well, I take that back. This is my first shoot actually light teching for Nike, which I think was pretty cool. And I think to this magnitude, this is probably the biggest Nike shoot that I've done that's come out publicly. So I'm like super happy to be a part of this, but this is the end of this video. I don't really want to talk you guys' ears off. But if you have any like questions outside of what I have said, just, you know, DM me. I don't mind answering any questions on like what was going on. But yeah, one thing that I forgot to record was what modifiers I used. So with modifiers, the key light was a beauty dish. I believe it's like a 20, maybe 30-inch beauty dish. Nothing crazy. On a boom arm. The boom arm is just so that like you don't have C-stands in frame, and also like the photographer could move however he needed to without, changing the lighting at all. And so we had a beauty dish as the key light. Of course, the Gobos just had like the Eclipse Gobo head on those lights, which were my Einstein, I think 540 lights, might be 600, I don't really know, but I think it's 540 watt lights. And then camera right as our backlight, I used strip box. It's a pretty big strip box. I would say it's probably like a 4 or 5 foot strip box, which is just filling in like some of the plants, camera right. And I believe we had something similar going camera left, back, just to fill in. Cause like, as you can kind of see in some of these photos, like the bottom half of their clothing gets lost, especially like with the black clothing. And we wanted to try to avoid that. So some of these things we made adjustments on the day of, but a lot of this was done on the pre-light day. So when we came in to shoot on the actual shoot day, everything was already set, and we really were just chilling and letting Lawrence do his thing, which I think is super nice because we don't have to worry about if lighting is right. It's just like he comes in, everything's already set, and he can kind of work how he works, which I think is best for any photographer, to just be able to concentrate on composition and the mood of, talent, which I think you can definitely see that in these photos. And Lawrence did a great job, like just capturing everything that he did. But yeah, this will be the end of this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, let me know. Yeah, see you guys in the next one.